ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ. First, I'm very grateful to the Vaiguru that I got this moment to speak my story with all of you. I also want to recognize that we are gathered here on the unceded and traditional territories of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh First Nations. I'm especially grateful that I got a chance to go to Snowayat Lelam, which means House of Teachings. Snowayat Lelam is a First Nations name which is given to Langara College by the Musqueam First Nation. I think it's important for me to recognize my privilege and connection to this land, especially as a foreigner. Because from this land, I have gained so much in the last few years. So it is my duty to learn about the indigenous people, what has happened with them in the past, and what is happening with them in the current days. So the story that I'm going to share with you is my personal story of leaving my friends, family, and home back in India and coming to Canada. So what is home? If you must define it literally, a home is a permanent place where one's live. It is a place where you feel a sense of belonging, love, support, and care. In that sense, I have a home in Ludhiana, back in Punjab. I lived there with my parents, my grandparents, my chacha, chachi, my cousin, and my sister. As growing up, I would watch my grandparents wake up early in the morning and do Simran and Nitnem. They will take me to the Sangat very often to listen to Katha, Kirtan, Tadivara, and Sakhiyan. I still remember vividly that when I was 7 to 8 years old, it was a hot summer day in June, and I was sitting on the rooftop with my dadima on a manja. The sun had just gone past the city houses in the west. The Granthi at the nearby Gurdwara, which was just about 5 minutes walk away from home, turned on the speaker and started, Har Jug Jug Bhagat Upaya, Paj Rakhda Aya Ram Raje. I turned to my dadima and said, Mummy, main bhi paath karna hai. She said, Chal ja fir gutka leke aa. I went downstairs, washed my hands, and picked up the safri gutka, which is a small-sized gutka that you can easily carry when you're traveling. I came up, and I had a rumal with an elastic on my juda, so I covered whole my head with the side of my dadi's chunni. So I started reading from the gutka while listening to the Granthi sing at the Gurdwara. And that was the first time I read Rera Sahib by my own. The feeling that you can read Gurbani by my own, it was just amazing. I knew that I'm literate enough to read Gurbani by my own. I remember my grandfather, or Papaji, I would call them, would take me to Alamgir every Sunday. And Alamgir is a small village in the outskirts of Ludhiana, where there is a historic Gurdwara of Padshai Dasmi. So when Guru Gobind Singh Ji left Machiwada, dressed up as a Uchda Peer, which means a Sufi saint, to pass through the checkpost set by Mughals who were searching for Guru Sahib Ji, Guru Sahib Ji made a stop at the Alamgir Pind before proceeding to the Rakot. So my Papaji would take me to the Alamgir to do seva. I remember during the years, there was a seva of the Langar Hall. Then the seva of the Sarovar started. Then the seva of the Darbar Hall. So that was the home where I grew up as, where I had a support, love, and care from people around me, so I could grow as a decent person with the Sikh values. I went to a nearby private school in my neighborhood. I passed grade 10 with flying colors. So the school offered me a scholarship where I could study at the school for grade 11 and 12 without any cost. So I convinced my parents to get me into the private tuitions because I was taking maths and science courses. I knew by that time that if I want to get into a good engineering college, I have to have a good rank in the engineering entrance exam. So fortunately, I got accepted into Guru Nanak Dev Engineering College in Ludhiana in mechanical engineering. I was happy and confident that if I work hard enough, I could get a decent job after I graduate. But then one of my cousins, who just graduated as a computer engineer, started planning to go to Canada. Then the other cousin, who graduated as a nurse, she also started taking IELTS classes. Personally, I wasn't fond of going to Canada and leaving India. I would think, would I still have the same connection with the Punjabi language, culture, and people? Would my kids identify as a Punjabi and have a good connection with Punjab? But turned out that my parents thought differently. They saw abundance of opportunities and growth and financial security in going to Canada. They said, "We are giving you a chance now. We will support you. Other relatives are also willing to support you financially because they trust you and have faith in you so that you will be successful. Who knows whether you're going to get a job or not after you graduate here? Look at your sisters, they're also leaving." So after a lot of internal talk and discussions with my family and friends, I respectfully agreed to their decision. I took the English test, IELTS, and scored 6.5 bands out of 9 and paid a hefty sum of money to the college and the bank's GIC. In 2015, the night before my flight, all my puas, my masiyan, and my friends, they came over. For one, to say goodbye, and two, to celebrate my birthday, which was 3 years after. They decorated the whole drawing room with balloons and brought a cake. We were celebrating because I was leaving. I remember I went to say a short goodbye to almost every neighbor in the street. A lot of aunties got emotional, but I didn't. I had a mindset that I'm just leaving for my studies, for the good. Next day, when we were leaving the house for the airport, Papa ji did ardas, and I hugged all the family members and got their blessings. Many of them had tears in their eyes, but I didn't. Then I hugged my best friend, who was standing last in the line, and I saw tears in his eyes. And suddenly it hit me. I burst into tears. Yes, it was real. I was leaving all these people behind. I was very fortunate that there was a family waiting for me at the Vancouver International Airport. The roads were cleaner and quieter. One had to put some music in the car to make some noise. This was the family of one of our neighbors from Ludhiana. They themselves were new immigrants with 2 kids, but still offered a place in their home to stay. They took care of me. I found a home outside my home because there were people who supported me. The challenge of living with them was my daily commute to my college would be 1 to 1.5 hours each way. My goal was to make efficient use of this time because it was expensive time. I paid a lot for this. So I moved closer to my college with my roommate, which I found on a Craigslist, but he went to the same college as me. I had a part-time job in customer service, so I could pay my monthly expenses and don't have to ask my parents for any other money. One evening, my roommate and I went to a nearby Gurdwara in the neighborhood for the first time. Asi matha tekya, we took prashad from Babaji and sat for a few minutes. Since coming to Canada, I did not have a permanent home anymore, but in the Hajuri of Tan Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, I would always feel at home. I would always feel that I belonged here. When we got up to leave, Babaji asked, Put prashad lena hor? We said, Nahi Babaji, ek wari le liya, bahut hai. He replied, Chalo bhai, thodi marzi a. ਅਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਵਰਗੇ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਾਂ ਦਾ ਖਾਸ ਖਿਆਲ ਰੱਖੀਦਾ ਜੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੈਣਾ ਤਾਂ ਨਾ ਲਓ. I got confused. The word that stood out to me was a student. Why didn't he say ਬੱਚੇ or munde or put or any other general term? Did he not care for other kids as much? Why specifically students? How did he know that we were students? It sounded like he was telling us that he cared extra for the students, but somehow there was something in that tone which did not quite sound friendly. Then we went to a langar hall, just like as I would go when I will go to Alamgir. Because that's what I had been taught. Langar is Maharaj's Daat. It's the integral part of a Gurdwara. Always eat langar when you go to a Gurdwara, even if you're not hungry. I thought, in the langar hall, I saw there were tables and chairs and no mats to sit on the floor. I thought, oh, maybe Canada is colder than India. That's why they have this system. So we received langar and we sat down to eat. And I noticed there were a lot of stairs coming at our way. It was awkward. After we finished eating, an auntie came to us and asked, Putt, tusi student hai? We said, Hanji. She said, Chalo koi nahi, tusi langar shak ja karo, naale aake seva bhi kar ja karo. I thought that was a nice advice and seemed that she cared. I know that langar is a blessing and the purpose of the langar is to feed the needy. Well, that is how Guru Nanak Dev Ji started it, feeding Bhukhe Sadhu. In my case, I had started cooking by myself along with my roommate. Then I heard some people complaining about how students are going to Gurdwaras and eating free food or langar. It appeared that langar is not the same langar that Guru Nanak started. It had been commoditized and served with a different intention based on your immigration status. So the place where I thought that I would feel at home, a Gurdwara, I did not feel like that. But I would still go to a Gurdwara because I longed for Maharaj's Hajuri, sometimes after weeks of avoiding that uncomfortable stare. No, I would usually avoid going to a langar hall because I felt very conscious what others might be thinking, that I'm unable to cook and feed myself. That's why I came to a Gurdwara. So I started looking for other avenues where people could look beyond my immigration status, where I could learn and grow without any judgment. My college turned out to be a great place for that. There was a diverse community of students, faculty, and staff with different backgrounds. They were all passionate people and very acceptive for all of us, no matter how I looked or what my immigration status was. My friend and I revived a Sikh association in the college, and I joined him to put on some events on campus to create more awareness about the Sikhs in the college because their numbers were increasing. I joined the volunteer program because I thought that I could continue my practice of self-service or seva in some form that how I did at Alamgir. That turned out to be a great decision. There were a lot of supportive and non-judgmental people. It helped me to spend my time more productively and learn more about the Canadian culture and society. They made me comfortable to present myself as who I am. I also got a chance to go to Kenya with other students to learn about their culture, sustainability, and service. Despite of all that, I still missed being in Sangat, where I could feel comfortable, welcomed, and learn from them. So gradually, I found out about other events that local Sikh youth was organizing. I started attending those events, hoping that they would be a bit more open-minded and acceptive and could look beyond my immigration status, that it might be easier to make connection with them because they're of same age. It took some time, but it worked. I met a number of Gursikhs and other people of Punjabi diaspora whose first question was not, "But tu student?" They made me feel welcomed, belonged, and recognized that our community just worked better if we can look past someone's immigration status and see the person which can provide some value to this society. This is just a single story of an international student who came to Canada for a better future and for the dream of their parents. There are thousands of stories of other international students who all came to this land with the various dreams, whose struggles are way harder than mine, and whose achievements are way better than what I had done in the past years. Many of them could be the potential citizens of this society, so ultimately, they're also the future of this country. So let's just support them, help them, and be more inclusive of them. I'm very positive that if they made a brave decision to leave their country behind and come to a new country, they can thrive better if the Punjabi diaspora can provide a little amount of help. Because when we all support each other and be more inclusive, we thrive better as a community. In the end, have I found a home? Honestly, I don't know. Of course, Ludhiana is still close to my heart because I have spent most of my life there, including my childhood. But Vancouver has come close to my heart too, because this is the place where I have seen a lot of personal growth and started my career. So I'm very grateful that I can call two places my home. Again, the home is where one can feel loved, supported, and belonged. I also now think of home as a volatile or a dynamic place, because how I never imagined that I would ever leave my home and go to Canada, I think I won't be surprised if I have to leave from here and ultimately from this world. Thank you.